If you're an organisation that's maybe been in business for 10, 15 years, over the years you will have lost sleep and blood and sweat and tears putting fraud prevention technologies and capabilities in place. They could be application fraud systems, it could be technologies like device, behavioural biometrics, email risk. All of these come with additional cost, all of these come with additional effort. You have to manage the outputs of these systems, you have to manage the implementation and updates of the technology. You also have to manage the operational burden of making sense of all of it. You can reach a crunch point where you've got so much technology and so many different products and services that actually trying to get your day-to-day job done becomes almost impossible. So if you had one shot in the next 12 months to change that, to really put something in place that would make a difference, then if you look at the modern technology stacks like NOTO, what we're allowing organisations to do is, if you've got sign-off for budget for implementing a device solution, or you've got sign-off for budget for implementing an email solution, rather than implementing one-point solution, why would you not implement an enterprise fraud management platform as part of that process? So what we can do through a single API is essentially give organisations the opportunity to do what they're aiming to do, but you've landed an enterprise fraud management platform that can then be used to migrate their entire estate over time to a single case management view, a single real-time rules engine. All of the things that anyone in the fraud and financial crime space would dream of, having all of your data, all of your information across all of your channels, all of your customers in one place. So organisations have got this opportunity. Technology has moved on significantly. There's technologies out there that have been in the market 30 years. You think about what fraud was like 30 years ago. You think about what technology was like 30 years ago. There's a massive opportunity right now for organisations in the UK and globally to finally make the change that sets them up for the future. And technology and platforms like NOTO are the capability that will allow them to do that. So it's about taking that one shot, making it the right choice when you make it, and that will give you the opportunity to begin to migrate your estate and to migrate your infrastructure. If you pick the right solution, it can land on top of your existing tech stack. So as a starting point, you connect all of the data, all of the information into one central point. From there, you can build rules. And with a modern platform, real-time rules engine, where you can build, deploy, test rules in less than a couple of minutes. Many organizations that I speak to struggle with expensive professional services costs and timeframes to make a change. Making a rule or a strategy change in what I would call a historic system could take 6 to 12 weeks. Well, in 6 to 12 weeks, how many customers have you lost? How much fraud have you missed? How much risk have you missed? So the modern technology stack is allowing organizations to do this. The total cost of fraud isn't the financial loss anymore, it's the impact on your customers. If you make the wrong decision for a good customer and they're caught in the crossfire of you attempting to prevent fraud, then the impact to your business can be significant. It can close businesses down if customers don't believe that they have the right controls in place.
The problem we've got is obviously once you've got siloed systems and you think about SAP or Oracle or any other financial system that people use, if you're siloed and they're not all bolted onto each other, then unfortunately your accounts payable through to your supply chain and your supplier registration, and they're not always linked. And the way they're configured and set up, I think, is most important, because if they're not set up properly and correctly, then things will fall through the gaps. The minute that the fraud works in three, there's called the fraud triangle, the Cressy triangle: motivation, morale, rationalisation, and opportunity. As an organisation, if we provide the opportunity, people will take advantage of that opportunity. And I think that's the problem we've got. By having siloed systems, people realise that one doesn't talk to the other, and therefore I can do it. I'll give you an example. I dealt with a case of a guy who was a contractor working in accounts payable and accounts receivable. He flagged it because he didn't like it, and I feel sorry for those working in accounts payable because they've got a pile of invoices to be paid that high. Sort it all out and we'll get it. The person was off sick, just sort it. And he realised that he could create an invoice and he could approve the invoice and pay it. So he did. 250 grand in 17 months. Guess what the outcome of that was? He still had that money in his bank when he was arrested. But back to your point, because nobody knew. If I tell you a suspicious activity report was raised between the banks because he got greedy and raised 20k as an invoice, he raised the 20k, nothing else, and that's what raised it. The day he was nicked and the day the police went through the door of the organisation, they were totally unaware. But the human interaction, along with the Cressy triangle of providing the opportunity, will always find somebody with a motivation and morale. Fraudsters fit into two groups, the greed and the need. The roof over the head and the food on the table versus the high life and spending the money, quite often coupled with an addiction or extramarital or whatever it may be, because you need that money to come from somewhere.